I'd like to thank the Federation for the invitation to address your annual conference again this year. It's great to see such a wide range of experience and expertise in the field of housing here today. Unfortunately, I'm unable to join you for the duration of the conference because of other commitments today, but I want to take the opportunity to explain my vision for the future of housing in Northern Ireland and how together we can help to build communities. My vision is one that I know is shared by all of you here today, to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to access good quality housing at a reasonable cost, irrespective of whether we work within the public, private, or voluntary sector. If we work together, we can meet housing need, support our local communities, and deliver a fair and prosperous society. Much has been done over recent years to improve housing in Northern Ireland. In fact, last year I published Northern Ireland's first housing strategy, something that covers all tenures. In particular, standards in social housing have improved, and together we've provided over 120,000 individuals and families with good quality, affordable homes. And importantly, we've supported some of our most vulnerable in our society. A total of 2,336 new starts were delivered in 2012-13. And that keeps us firmly on track for the programme of government and realising an overall investment of £197 million across Northern Ireland. Now let me remind you of what together we have already achieved. Only last week, I opened the first new social housing scheme on Rathlin Island in almost 2 decades. A £2 million investment with Apex for 10 family homes. I also launched a scheme in the Somerville area of North Belfast, where 41 homes are being built. £4.9 million investment with Oakley. In September, 21 families on the social housing waiting list received homes in Armagh, a £2.3 million investment with Fold. 22 new homes will be built at Queen Victoria Gardens in North Belfast, a £2.4 million investment with Trinity. In May, I opened the new £28.1 million development in West Belfast on the former Bass Brewery site there with Clanmill, 165 family homes. And 12 new family homes were developed in Monkstown in April, a £1.1 million development with Conswater. The people and the communities that I met in Armagh, in Monkstown, in Belfast and Rathlin are now enjoying their new homes. And we should be proud of this and proud of the good standard of social housing we've achieved here in Northern Ireland. However, we must also recognise that there is still much to be done. Everyone in this room knows of an area of dereliction in their community, and indeed the knock-on effect that it can have. For example, becoming the focus of antisocial behaviour. For the good of our communities, we must take action to breathe new life back into these areas. We need to make them places where people can be proud to live and want to live. Housing associations must be at the very core of their communities and working from within if they are to make a difference. Talk to local community organisations and MLAs in your area about your plans, but talk to them at an early stage, not at the end. That way, any problems or stumbling blocks can be considered and avoided early on in the process. Social contract clauses have made a welcome introduction to the social housing sector. During the period of January 2011 to August 2013, a total of 160 placements and 15 offers of full-time employment have been provided through new social housing contracts. This demonstrates that housing associations can do more to support communities and play a more active role in tackling unemployment and developing skills of local residents. I want to look there at social clauses again to ensure how we can be getting more and getting the maximum possible return. I've seen housing associations across in Great Britain and what they've done in that regard. And armed with local knowledge of their areas, they've worked with their local community to find solutions for the area's most pressing issues and challenges. For example, at the Eldonians Community-Based Housing Association in inner city Liverpool, I was impressed by their village approach to regeneration, which provides lifetime housing options such as family, single, and seniors accommodation all on one site. In the Anfield area in Liverpool, I had the opportunity to meet with members of the beautiful North Partnership to see and hear how public, private, and voluntary sectors are working with communities to deliver joined-up housing-led regeneration solutions in often abandoned areas. I also had useful discussions with First Arc Housing Association and the Great Places Housing Group, which have significant experience of large-scale stock transfers from councils. The Great Places Housing Group took me to see for myself the regeneration of the Northmoor area, which is 3 miles outside Manchester. 10 years ago, this was a crime-ridden, no-go area where people did not want to live. It has been completely transformed into a busy, vibrant, and diverse place where people want to live, to work, and to invest. Great Places Housing Group worked in partnership with Manchester Council and with the local community association to not only give the area a complete makeover, but to re-energize the entire community. Great Places part funds a team of community wardens, and they've made a huge impact on the community, as well as providing local jobs for local people. Acting as the eyes and the ears of the streets, they've instilled a greater sense of community confidence, and that area just is a total transformation. Those visits and those discussions gave me a real insight into the positive impacts that have been achieved for communities who are fully engaged in the shaping of housing and infrastructure improvements in their area. Those communities have now benefited from new housing developments, from retrofit schemes to improve the energy efficiency of existing homes. They've benefited from economic investment, they've benefited from apprenticeships, and they benefit from employment opportunities for local residents. It was therefore truly inspiring to see the knock-on effect of that regeneration. Local residents have become more and more involved in improving their communities. From simply organising hanging baskets in their streets and group cleanups, to sitting on committees and actively pitching for funding for improved green spaces, amenities, and children's parks. What really stood out for me from that trip was the creativity and the innovation demonstrated by these housing associations in how they source finance and subsequently use the funds available to them to create local jobs for local residents, regenerate rundown derelict areas, contribute to improving health and well-being of the locals, and create diverse, thriving communities, places where people want to be, and more, they're actually proud to live there. The turnaround in those areas was truly impressive, and I was certainly inspired by what I saw there. It is time to be innovative and to stretch the boundaries here in Northern Ireland as those in Great Britain have done. Times have changed, and so must we. And I firmly believe this is not beyond our reach. We must work together. We must be innovative. We must be creative. We must take a holistic approach if we are to support and build our local communities. How can we make that vision a reality? It can only be achieved by effort, commonality of purpose, and a shared agenda. Let me say to you now, I have the commitment to that effort. I've set out in my housing strategy a vision which I believe we can all sign up to and which received support right across the sector. In my housing action plan, I've set out a challenging agenda ranging from tackling empty homes to regenerating communities, to improving how we deliver for individuals in terms of issues such as supporting people to live independently and to tackle fuel poverty. I believe there's a clear challenge then for the housing association movement to become involved in that agenda, to make sure they put their shoulders to the wheel and every effort into delivering for the citizens of Northern Ireland, and more specifically, for their own tenants and the communities they live in. I believe that we've stepped up to that challenge, and I want to appeal to the housing association movement to do the same. I've heard Cameron say today, and it has been said to me before, that regulation is stifling innovation. As I previously indicated, my department is happy to work with the sector to ensure that we have an appropriate regulatory regime in place. A system that instills confidence for all stakeholders, for tenants, for citizens, and politicians, that enables housing associations to operate effectively and innovatively in our communities. But if there is an issue or a barrier, I will ensure it is addressed. So I would like to announce today the establishment of a working group with the sector and my department to look at how we can ensure the development of a regulatory process and a regulatory regime that can meet those twin objectives. And I want this group to report back to me by Christmas of this year. I hope this demonstrates my willingness to work with you, but I also need you to work with me. Let's work together to ensure that every penny we have to invest in housing is used to the maximum effect and to achieve the maximum impact. Looking to the future, you'll all be aware of my proposed reforms for social housing. The focus of those reforms is to transform public housing structures, to ensure sustainability, and to support improved delivery and innovation. I want to change the housing landscape in Northern Ireland for the better, creating opportunities for the housing movement to not only maintain the quality of existing homes, but to increase the supply of new homes and invest in the reshaping and re-energising of their local communities. So let me be clear. The process of reform which we've begun is not just about housing structures. It's about homes, about creating better living environments for our communities, about levering the necessary investment to better maintain our housing stock, and yes, to build more homes that would otherwise be possible under the existing arrangements. And it's about doing this in a way where there is better community engagement, where our communities not only benefit from the results, but are participants in the process. And this is something everyone in this room, I'm sure, will want to buy into. To realize that vision, I've been looking at models elsewhere. And there is much to learn from others' experience. I was very grateful when Professor Peter Roberts, the Vice Chair of the Housing Executive, took me on a visit around a number of these housing associations in Liverpool and Manchester, and it really did impress me what they were achieving over there. It's not simply about replicating, however, a London or Manchester model or a Liverpool model, but it's about building the very best possible solution for Northern Ireland, one that meets the future needs of our population and one that our communities can be proud of. There are significant changes ahead. There have to be. It's a big responsibility, and we all have to be part of it. We need to play our part. We must evolve together. We need to be resourceful. We need to be creative if we are indeed to meet this challenge ahead. So, I've talked this morning about our past, highlighting some of our successes in delivering new and affordable homes across Northern Ireland. I've also talked about the challenges we face today and the critical role of housing associations in meeting those challenges. And I've set out my vision for the future. I've no doubt it's a challenging agenda. For some, changes ahead are cause for hesitation. But for others, it's an opportunity. And I think the question is, where do you fit in? Do you see it as a cause for hesitation, or do you see this as an opportunity to transform the landscape in Northern Ireland? I know what the future for Northern Ireland can look like. It will take hard work, but it is certainly worth the effort. And I believe we can do it together. There is a wealth of experience in our communities and in our society, from politicians and MLAs to voluntary organizations and community groups. So, let's make the most of today. Seize the opportunity to make a difference today. Decide today to rise to the challenge. And in making the case for housing, the call to action must be to support and improve our communities. It's not just about building houses, it's about building communities. And I challenge you all, therefore, to join with me and to act now. Thank you very much.